Well, beautiful people, best damn nation. It is Wednesday, and you know what time it is. It is the best damn wrestling podcast. I am your humble host, Brian Renegade, and with me, I have the best damn crew. First of all, I have the chef of all chefs. We call him Senor Fuego. He is the one and only chef. Showtime was happening.
I'm good. How you guys doing today?
Oh man, blessed and highly favored, my brother, as we always say, man. It's good to have you on, chef. Oh man, next I have the grappler of grapples. He's your mama's favorite wrestler, and he can whoop your daddy ass, Mr. Everything, Victor Andrews.
What up, good people? What up, good people? I'm in the building, And of course, we got El Capitan, our leader of the show, Mr. Stargazer himself, Mr. Brian Renegade. What's going on there, brother?
Oh, what's happening, partner? What's happening? Looks like we got a special guest in the building, wiping his royal brow, as you see. Oh man, Mr. Everything, I'm gonna let you do the honors of introducing our esteemed guest.
Yes, yes, ladies and gentlemen, there is not enough words in the dictionary, the thesaurus, or the encyclopedia to be able to tell you everything about this man. Like this man, listen, he taught Abraham Lincoln how to wrestle.
Oh man,
They call him the ageist one for a reason. Okay, he's the showstopper, penny dropper, wheeling dealing, car stealing. He's your granddaddy's granddaddy favorite wrestler. Okay, he can moonwalk in some slippers. Okay, some house shoes, some chancletas. Okay, and he can pray for you in the middle of all that. He can pray for you all that. This is my dear brother, good friend, man, mentor, word of advice, pastor, good man. Listen, like I said, there's not enough words I can say about this man. This is, ladies and gentlemen, the ageless one, Caprice Coleman.
Oh man, it's an honor to be here. I appreciate the intro, man. I was wondering where you was going on there. I was like,
man, listen, I didn't know what else to say. I told you the encyclopedia just doesn't do you any justice. Ladies and gentlemen, real quick. So a little history, a little background. I first met Caprice through a mutual friend, through Ali Steele. You remember that day?
Yeah, absolutely. I
was on my way back from a seminar for Bret the Hitman Hart, where Chase Stevens invited me to, and Ali called me up and he said, "Hey man, where you at?" So I'm on my way home from Tennessee. He said, "Stop by the house. I got somebody I want you to meet." And I said, "All right." And it was me and my good friend Sean. May you rest in peace. Love you, Sean. We started through, and Caprice was there, and they was moving around in the ring. And me and Caprice got in the ring, and before I realized who he was, I was in there trying to show him some stuff that I learned in Tennessee with the 5-5-5 drill. And he was like, "Look," I stepped in the ring. I grabbed him by the hand. I said, "Let me show you." He said, "Oh man, wait, hold on. Tell me what you're doing first before we do anything.
Get your hands off me.
Don't be grabbing me, okay?" I hit all of them. That's what he did. And I just showed him a couple of things that I learned, and he knew exactly what it was. We got to move around in the ring, do a little bit of training, and I learned some stuff from the little mini match, and sat there and chopped it up. And we've been, man, I've been to brother's house. I've cut his hair. I've cut his son's hair. Hung out with his family, and anytime I needed advice on anything, I was being able to call Caprice. I've been doing some stuff that I didn't know Caprice was watching, and I would get a message from him like, "Hey man, good job." I'm like, "What'd I do? What happened?" But yeah, let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. Best Damn Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah, because you're making my head too big.
Oh man.
Go ahead, Caprice.
I'm just saying it's an honor to be here, and I don't know what we're in for, but anytime I've been called, man, I'm gonna try to be there if I can be there. Really good brother, great dad, man.
Caprice.
Anytime you see somebody like that, you can't hear me. I'm muted.
Yeah, you sound like a robot. You're in the Matrix.
In the Matrix.
Gotta take that T-Pain off.
I'm on the Wi-Fi. I just leave the mess something taken out. Let's do the old school. Let's do this.
Say that again.
Nope, no better.
Oh man.
Let me have you log out and then come back in, and then
come back in.
Yeah, we'll try that. Oh man, well, beautiful people. While we fix these technical difficulties, man, we got a hell of an interview for you. Tell a little bit about Caprice's background, man, for people who are not too familiar with his body of work.
Man, listen, this man has been all over Ring of Honor. He was a tag team partner with Cedric Alexander when they were in Ring of Honor. They were the CNC Wrestling Factory. Um, they've done a lot of stuff in Japan. Caprice has been all over in Africa, Qatar. He's Qatar champion. He was Wrestlecade champion, Ring of Honor tag team champion. He's worked for WWE. He still currently works for Ring of Honor. He's one of the best color commentators to ever grace the tables and the mic. He works alongside Ian Riccoboni. He's been with Omega. He's worked with Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, Shane Helms. Like this man needs his flowers, bro. Like he really needs his flowers. He's one of those guys that does not get the credit that he so deserves, because he's always so giving to others. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're in store for a very, very amazing interview to learn about this man and learn about his career, learn about his path in religion as a pastor, and just really get a chance to get to know Caprice Coleman. And if you haven't, man, go and check out some of the stuff that he's done in terms of wrestling. Go and look him up on YouTube and watch him on Ring of Honor. He's very entertaining, very, very entertaining. I don't think there's ever been a situation where I've been around Caprice and he did not do something that would entertain you. Like you could have a bad day, just be sitting around, and he would walk up and say something goofy and silly. I remember one day I was at a WrestleCade and I was doing a promo for another company. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, anybody that's any wrestlers, young wrestlers, do not do that unless you get permission. That's not good business. But I was doing a promo, and Caprice happened to walk up behind me, and it was a wall behind me. So he's walking by the wall, and he's looking like he's looking for an exit or something. And I turn around, and in the middle of my promo, I was like, what is going on right now? And I was like, we got Caprice Coleman, and he was like, oh, hey, man, hey, what's going on? And I was like, you want to add something? And then he went into a whole promo right then and there, and then he challenged me to a match which we never, ever, ever have not gotten yet.
Ooh. Oh, man.
I came back in the right time.
Right time. He was about to talk. Can't jump about you, man. I'm about to stop him. I'm about to stop him.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Caprice Coleman. Caprice, please give us a quick rundown for those who are been living under a rock and don't know your body of work. Give us a rundown of what you've done and everything that you are.
I'm not good at that. I can say I've been part of the sport for the greater part of 25 years. Started out as a referee, trained under Matt and Jeff Hardy. Started with their promotion, New Frontier Wrestling Alliance, turned into Omega. By the time it got to Omega, I went from referee into wrestling, and been wrestling with them until they got signed. Ended up going to NWA Wildside for some years. I got a lot of WWE work through that, TNA work, TNT and TNA and all, whatever their name were at the times. And then after that, had some Ring of Honor work, and then I went overseas for a while. Did some contract work for the military, and while I was overseas in Kuwait, did wrestling over there, and still connected with them. Came back to the States in 2009. Went back to NWA Wildside, which was NWA Anarchy, I think, at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ring of Honor called, WWE called, TNA called, and they were all just trying to see where I was at. And I kind of got the vibe that they felt like I was older by that time. I was always really hot on the indies over there in the magazines of next best thing type deal, but never got a contract. And Ring of Honor called me, and they said they're getting ready to get bought out. They're getting ready to be bought by a big TV station and need some more wrestlers, and they definitely want to bring me aboard when they sign them. If I could hold up, because now like they're talking to me like I'm like 72 years old, bro. And and I was like, yes, of course I can, I could do it or whatever. And they said we got this idea we want to do and so they end up being sold to Sinclair Broadcast, and they bring me on. And this time I'm working the Indies pretty hard. And when I got back in country, back from Kuwait, everybody was like, "Hey, what's your rate?" And I told them my rate, and it was like, "Oh, okay, well, we could get Cedric Alexander for so and so and so." I was like, "Okay, get Cedric Alexander." Like, you know what I mean? Like,
threaten me
so yeah, and so I've heard this like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, "Who is Cedric Alex? What the world? Who is this guy?" And so then I see him on the show, and so I called my brother, I said, "I want to be on the show." And I ended up being on the show, and I think Cedric's like the first match, and he was really, really young at this time. And so I'm kind of shaking my hand, everybody seeing me, being nice to me in the back. Like, I'm really popular to wrestlers, but like the fans, I'm okay. But and so after I made my rounds in the back, now I'm playing. But his match goes on, so I'm at the curtain, I'm watching this dude, and my brother, Sweet Dreams, he's watching this dude. And 30 seconds in, we're looking at each other like, this guy has it. Like, it's just some people, they just have it. You know what I mean? And so we introduced each other after that, and just kind of kept in contact, no big deal. And then we would end up at seminars together. And I would say, "Hey, man, you stay at that side of the room, I stay at this side of the room, because they're going to see us together. They're going to try to make us the new Ebony Express or Harlem Heat or something. So you just stay in your lane, I stay in mine." And so it's kind of our joke. But then Ring of Honor, like when Ring of Honor does, "Hey, we got this idea. They say we got this young guy that we think is really good, and we want to tag him up with like a mentor. And we think y'all will be a great tag team." I said, "Okay, what's his name?" "Cedric Alexander." I was like, "All right, cool." We never worked together, wrestled, or anything. And we get up to the show. I think the show was in Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. And that was like the first time we like planned a match or anything. And we went against, I think, like Future Shock, was Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. And we went against I can't think of their names now, but they're a pair of brothers, and they had like their gimmick was like their mama's boys. One of them wrestles right now. He's in WWE now.
Was it Julio De Niro?
No. One brother's like a mayor, and the other one's in WWE. He does like a teacher gimmick.
Chase, Andre Chase.
Yeah. What was they were anyway. Dang, I'm having a brain fart, but they were tremendous guys, great wrestlers or whatever. But we wrestled them like that was our first match, and the first night we had 2 matches, and they loved us, and like we didn't have a name or anything, and we were kind of in the ring like this is good, like, you know what I mean? And so we got signed and been at Ring of Honor ever since. And we had a tag team run. He of course went off and went to WWE and all, proud of him and all. But I just stayed with Ring of Honor, and Ring of Honor just never lied to me. Then the pandemic happened. Ring of Honor got went out of business after the pandemic. They paid us through the pandemic. I don't even know if I'm telling the side of the story you want to hear. That's why I'm like, I'm not good at this. Tell me what you've done.
No, man, keep going. Keep going.
And so, and then everybody's contracts are running out or whatever. And then we did the final battle, and just knowing that we were told that it'll pick back up in like April or whatever, but it was kind of like we were taking a hiatus. And then at the end of April, I'm turning on TV, and my new boss is Tony Khan, and we didn't know it. It was kind of like it was kind of like me watching TV. I'm finding out then we didn't know if he was gonna use Ring of Honor for the video archives, or if he was gonna just take a couple of guys and just kind of be done with it, or what. But by the grace of God, man, he took it, and he has his heart into it, where he's really trying to like do something with it. And I was part of the first 10 people to be called back, and I've been there since. So I work for Ring of Honor under AEW now, and I just keep in touch with people, man, and I just try to show love, bro, because I've been on all aspects of wrestling, from refereeing to wrestling to managing to producing to talk show host to commentating, and that's kind of where I'm at now. So I'm literally like, they call me the Swiss Army knife of pro wrestling. Mr. Versatility. I'm not Mr. Everything. That's Mr. Everything right there. But but yeah, that's just kind of been my thing, man. And God, I've just in my career, I've always said yes to opportunities, and it's blessed me to where I'm able to do a lot of things in the same sport.
Gotcha. Tell us a little bit about your transition from being a referee to a wrestler. Like what went through your mind when that opportunity was approached to you? Like, hey, would you like to actually wrestle rather than referee?
It was word up, bro, for real. It was like that, because it was like I was in practice one day, and like I said, we all, Matt and Jeff, and we all practiced in what's his name, Cameron Grimes' yard, his dad's yard. He had the ring in his yard, and so that's where we trained at. And then when I first came, I came as a wrestler. I wanted to wrestle, but I was very small, and they had Shannon Moore, and Shannon Moore was their like underdog, and it was like, well, we can't have like two underdogs, at the same time or whatever. And so when they initially brought me in, it was like, well, you just referee. But then, like I said, I was with them for, I don't know how long. I don't want to say a certain amount of time and be wrong, but I was just there at one practice, and Matt was like, hey, I think you're ready. And like when he said that, it was, I don't know what I did, but I want to say I was like, ready for what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what am I ready for? And he was like, hey, we got this show coming up in Southern Pines, and because I was like, bro, when I was in wrestling, I didn't care what I was. When I was refereeing, I was inviting people to the shows to watch me referee. Like, I didn't care. Like, I was part of the show. You know what I'm saying? And so that was kind of my thing. And I had an entrance and everything. I had a theme music for refereeing, bro. Like, I would come down the aisles and jump over the ropes, all that stuff. And I'm serious. And so then when I actually got to wrestle or whatever, I thought that was it's a big deal. It was a big deal for me.
Gotcha. And then during that time, was Matt and Jeff with WWE, or were they getting ready to start working for them? How does that all kind of intertwine?
They were doing like extra work for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So they were kind of those guys where, at the time, when you say, "Hey, I'm wrestling with Omega or whatever," oh, those guys that get beat up on TV, those Hardy Boys, and but everybody knew who they were because they were on TV. But some people just thought like that's as far as they would go. But everybody that was around them was like, yo, these guys, like, you know what I'm saying? Or it. And so slowly but surely, people started really like falling in love with them, because they were always who they are now. They always felt they were that way. You know what I'm saying? And so they would go places and they were in character, and Jeff is always wearing the stuff, everywhere they go, they just got attention. You know what I mean? And so, and I think that's a big thing that got them signed as well, is because not only could they wrestle, but they stood out. They stood out everywhere they went. They had the muscles, they had the look, they had the wear, the confidence, and all. And so, yeah, it was kind of like, hindsight. It's like I'm looking at these guys like, yo, like, this is it. But I'm thinking Omega's it. You see what I'm saying? I'm thinking like Omega's going to be the next, like, one day we're going to be competing with WCW, or you see what I'm saying? Something like that. But then they got picked up, and when they got picked up, Omega was done, but Shannon wasn't signed or anything. So that's when Shannon and Christian York and Shane Helms went to NWA Wildside, and that's when they wanted me to come. And I was supposed to come up there like one time with them, and the week before I was supposed to go, I broke my ankle. And when I broke my ankle, I was on the shelf for, I don't know, two months or something like that. And during the time that I was off, they started going to Tennessee, like Burt Prentice, Memphis, Tennessee wrestling, and they ended up going to WCW. They were gone, and then I ended up going to NWA Wildside there with another carload with Laz and another trainee. His name was Will Powers and Chemo, and this other guys just kind of trickled in type thing.
Oh man, let me ask you a question real quick. Do you remember when you fell in love with wrestling?
Yeah, man, I was probably 3 years old, bro, and I turned on the TV and I saw Dusty Rhodes, and I didn't know what pro wrestling was. I was just young, and I just saw him shooting a promo. I want to say it was talking about the devil in the boot or something. I just seen him, talking, and he sounded like somebody I'm related to the way he was talking, and I was just kind of hooked on it, and was young, and I didn't know they was pro wrestling. I think I was more hooked on, when they was on the microphone talking, doing the interviews or whatever like that, and then I started seeing the wrestling. To me, that was just the coolest thing ever, and growing all the way up 6, 7, 8 years old, I was probably 6 years old before I realized, oh, this comes on at certain times of the day, and what I'm saying, this and that, because I would just happen to catch it sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And so I wasn't old enough to say, oh, turn to wrestling or whatever, like, or what I would say, they'd be like, it's not on right now. But then when I got old enough to realize, oh, this is what comes on, or you can buy like a little TV guide and it tells you when wrestling come on. Or whatever, it got to the point where my mom took me to a yard sale, and I bought like a black and white TV and put it in my room, and I could watch all the rest, and the rest of my family could watch whatever they wanted to watch.
Oh man, you was a go-getter from an early age, brother.
Yeah, I was, man, bro. Let me tell you something. I was so into wrestling that when I would get on punishment, like my mom would, like when I get grounded, I would get grounded from wrestling. It wouldn't be, you can't go outside, you can't do this or whatever like that. It was like, you can't watch wrestling. And that was like, no! That was like, yeah, it was brought before the pastor because he's obsessed with this suspect stuff, man. It was, yeah. It was pretty bad.
Oh, man.
Well, trust me, I understand that, because that's what I do with my son now. He's suspended from wrestling. He's losing his mind. I think he's been suspended from wrestling for about a year now.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. It's like once you get hooked, it's like some people it just hooks and some people it doesn't. And it's like some people can watch it and be like, oh, okay, whatever. And some people it's like, yo, I gotta know, I gotta do, I gotta see so and so, I gotta this. And it was like, and then man, I think I was like 14 years old, and we had cable, and they had this show that used to come on TBS called The Main Event, the WCW. And to me, it was all like good matches. You know what I'm saying? All the matches were like really good. And so but it came on at like 1:00, and church didn't get out to like sometimes 1:15.
So 3:00 sometimes.
Yeah. So I'd be in church and just looking at the clock and looking at the pastor, looking at the guy. And the church was like a block away from the house. So I would run home and watch TV or whatever like that. And yeah, it's crazy to remember that type of stuff, man.
Oh man, listen, I want to know who influenced your style and your character in the ring. I know when you first started off, your name was Ice, correct?
Yeah.
Caprice Ice Coleman, the coldest brother alive. You know what I'm saying? What influenced that character, man, and how did that develop over time to what you are now?
Man, Ice was honestly like a spinoff the West Side Story. I don't even know if it's like a musical called the West Side Story. It's like two gangs or whatever, and one of the gang members' name was Ice, and I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And then Mortal Kombat was out, with Sub-Zero and Scorpio and all that, and there was a wrestler in Omega called Sub-Zero, Marty Garner. And so I was like, well, I can't be, I'm just Ice, I'll be Ice or whatever. And like I was calling myself Ice before I was wrestling. I was like, well, I'm Ice. It just kind of stuck. And then I think they let me have it for a while just because I believed in it so much. And then it went from Ice, the coldest brother alive, to like the notorious ICE, which is like I Can't Excel. Yeah. And just this stuff to build on that. And then wrestling started changing to like more like people using their names and stuff. And so it went from that to Caprice Ice Coleman, and then like just Caprice Coleman. And then after that, it was mostly just Caprice Coleman and whatever moniker would be attached to it at that time.
Oh man, that's awesome. You talked about growing up in the church, man. And I think for me, I grew up in the church as well. Was that a difficult? Matter of fact, when did you get called to your ministry? And can you explain a little bit about what your ministry is now and how it plays a role in what you do?
I want to say I got called to preach when I was like 14 years old. I was raised in the church and all, and around 14, I just started having like these dreams that I was preaching and that I was supposed to preach, and then I had this one dream that this guy was like crossing the street, and everybody was like, "Hey, you're gonna get hit by a car, stop, whatever." And he's kind of looking at them like, "What?" You can tell he's getting ready to cross the street, and he was like, "People were like, he gonna stop, you're gonna get hit by a car," and he couldn't understand what they were saying. I was like, "Hey, stop, you're gonna get hit by a car." He was like, "Oh, thanks, man." It was like he understood. Out of everybody, he understood me, and they told me that like the interpretation of that is that not only was I going to preach, but I would have a message that anybody could understand. And that's kind of been my ministry. And growing up in church and all, with mostly like I've done like youth pastor type stuff, and then I had contemporary service where I actually pastored a service for years. And then went overseas, worked under a pastor there, came back and to my home church and was like associate pastor for years. Then we moved to Charlotte, and I started working at the church here in the music department, and then of course ministry there, and then recently, like after the pandemic, a lot of churches kind of stopped having church or whatever like that, and there was a church up the road that didn't have a pastor, and I talked to my pastor about it, and I was like, I just want to help them out so I would just be there. I wouldn't preach every Sunday. I would just be there, just kind of to be a constant. You know what I mean? And so start working, helping them out there. And then they asked me to put in my resume to pastor the church. And I did. I didn't get it. But like the guy that ended up being pastor, he asked me to be his, like, his side. So I'm like the youth pastor of the church now, St. Paul's Community Missionary Baptist Church. And I've just always been in ministry, man, just helping people. The wrestling side has really helped me because I don't feel that wrestling, that church is just inside of church. You know what I mean? And I feel that wherever I go, I'm almost looked at like, here comes Caprice, he's a preacher. You know what I mean? And so I get phone calls I get from different people all the time, and people prayer requests and all, to where it's just they hold me accountable for that type of stuff. So I gotta watch. You really gotta watch how you live in front of people, because when people see you that way, they expect something, and not that they expect you to be perfect, but it's a standard. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I accept that, because I've been in the same situation, and so I kind of get it, and I just am who I am, man. And I just accepted who I am, and I just walk with it.
Have you had situations where you had to pray for people in the locker room, or some people were looking for guidance, and they just couldn't get on the right track? Can you speak to being a voice for some wrestlers in the locker rooms that you've been in?
Oh man, yeah, absolutely, man. I've definitely had a lot of times where I'm talking to somebody in the locker room or whatever, and we end up praying or something. And I don't make a big deal out of it. All of it's kind of like most of the time, honestly, some people just want to be heard, and it's not like solve a problem or whatever like that. But like, if you could hear a person, and then also being able to let them know, like, okay, now I'm gonna be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Because some people, some people want a pat on the back or whatever like that. But then sometimes, if you always broke or this always happens, sometimes you have to look in the mirror and be like, what am I doing to cause that? You know what I mean? So sometimes there's some practical answer to stuff, um, and some real life situations and all that. And I think I'm old enough to where people respect my wisdom as well. And so I'm just honest with people, man, and praying. And I've had bro, I could tell you something that happened to me last week that probably blow your mind, bro. It's like I got a phone call from a wrestling promoter that just kind of texts me every now and then. But somehow he tried to call me and I couldn't answer at the time, and I called him back. And long story short, man, the dude had a demon in him, and like legit, I don't even know what you believe, bro, but like I thought I was gonna die last week, and the reason why is because I've seen demons before in people, but I've never as loud and as like pronounced as this one was. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the dude couldn't talk. He couldn't say Jesus. He couldn't say anything. We talking, and as soon as we started talking about religion, he said he felt like something was crushing his head and had their fingers in his ear. He felt like he was on fire. All like, and this ain't somebody acting. This dude is like in his 60s, bro. And I known him for like 14 years. So this wasn't some dude trying to run game or something like that. You know what I mean? And so by the grace of God, man, like I stayed with him, and it ain't me. I was praying, to God, bro. Like that's all I knew. You know what I'm saying? Was to plead the blood of Jesus and what I was taught. I kept doing that, and then he went from not being able to say anything to being able to say Jesus Christ. This all in an hour, so this ain't like 5 minutes from me. I was like, I'm not hanging up this phone. Like, if I die, I'm just gonna be like this. But then like we got to a point where he could talk a little bit, and I told him, "Is anybody home?" And he was like, "His wife is home." And maybe 5 minutes later, you could hear his wife, and thank God his wife was a believer. And she's praying on the phone, like she's praying, and she's like, "Lee, get out of him, Satan! You get out of him, you demon! You did, And we both praying together, and like a few minutes later, it left, and he was like, "Hey, who's this?" And I was like, "Caprice." Like, "Hey, Caprice." And I'm like,
Wow.
"Bruh, like you all right?" Like And he was like, "What's going on?" And then like slowly but surely, he was like, "I am tired." You know what I'm saying? And he was like kind of recalling stuff, and his wife was like kind of freaking out. And I asked his wife, I said, "What happened?" She was like, "Well, she was asleep, and next thing she know, he came to the bedroom door and just fell." And he was like convulsing or whatever, and she was explaining like his eyes and all that stuff, and all she heard me praying, so she started praying, and like the Bible says, with two or three are gathered, and after that, man, we talked some more, and I was able to lead him to Christ, and he definitely said the name of Jesus Christ and accepted Jesus Christ as personal Savior, and all, and was talking about the steps to do from then. And the next day I called him. Like I didn't mess with him no more, but like later on that night, he sent me like, "Hey, just let you know I love you. I really appreciate you staying with me," or whatever like that. He said, "I'm going to bed." So all right. And the next day, that afternoon, sometime he called me, and I was like, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm okay." He said, "But I feel like I got hit by a truck inside." He said his insides hurt and his outsides hurt. Like whatever was in him, like tore itself out of him, and like and for like 3 or 4 days, he said all he did was just sleep all day. And yeah, it's like it's a real deal, man. It's like, and this is the first time I've ever been able to say anything about it, but like it's so funny that people are like, "Oh, this is a man of faith and good for him. He's a good dude and all." But I know for a fact that like this stuff is real, and people say what they want to say, but like back in my day, Satan hid, but he ain't hiding no more.
Right.
He's in videos. It's just he's bold with it. You know what I mean? And the Christians are the ones that kind of like shying away because we don't want to offend anybody. We don't want to say the name of Jesus. We don't want to be judged or whatever like that, because there's a lot of Christians have made it look bad. You know what I'm saying? The way their lives have lived, because people perpetrating a perfect life, and then the curtain being pulled back and seeing that they, just like everybody else, somebody saved from grace. And so that's it's kind of where I'm at, man. It's just I just want to live a life to where I'm approachable. And I think I've been down enough roads. You know, you hear about the wrestling and the preaching, and I've been married for over 20 years. But there's a whole nother story that goes along inside of all of those, you know, addictions and everything that I can talk about, but I don't really talk about because there's no glory in it. But I'm able to relate to a whole lot of things, and those times I'm not proud of, but what it has allowed me to do is to be able to understand a lot of people that, you know, sometimes you just can't say no, you know, and everything ain't just a just do it type thing. And so some people just need love, respect, and be heard, you know. And so it's put me in a place to where, you know, I just have to have that ear to treat people the way that I needed to be treated during my times when I was going through those situations.
Right. You just mentioned about being married for about 20 years, man. Shine some light on your queen real quick, man. How hard is it for to have a relationship for 20 years long, being a wrestler, man, and being on the road and being busy, and then sometimes coming home, you know, when you do wrestle, a little sore. Talk about how she supports you, man, and in that way.
Oh man, you done started a whole other level, bro. Um, my wife, she met me outside of wrestling, so she had no clue I was a wrestler. Um, she knew me from church. Back in the day, my sister and I were gospel rappers,
Oh, 1, 2, 3
and
to the 4.
yeah. Jesus in the house, so open the door now. But
There it is. You're dropping an album tomorrow, Jack.
so yeah, so one of the churches that my sister and I went and did gospel raps at, she was part of the choir, and I saw her, and like she's beautiful, and but it was kind of like one of those out of your league beautiful type things, and so it was just kind of like, hey, how you doing? And she spoke back, and I was like, okay, you know, but it was just it was her cousins, they were all just nice, like, you know what I'm saying. So I was kind of like, okay, and then for years. We would see each other, and I think she worked at Walmart, and we would just speak. It was kind of like she knew who I was, and it was kind of like, okay, like she remembered me. You know what I'm saying? But I guess hindsight, looking back, they definitely remember us because they're singing background to one of our songs, so we were in the forefront type. My sister and I were like in the forefront, and so that kind of just kept on for years or whatever. And then one day, I was taking out trash at a complex I was living in, and I heard a familiar voice, and it was one of my classmates. And she said, hey Al, or whatever. She came and talked to me, whatever. And she was standing beside my wife, and we kind of looked at each other and was like, hey, you know what I mean? And she was like, oh hey, I just moved in here. And it was like, word, you know, cool, you know. So now she's like my neighbor. And I'm like, oh shoot.
I'm gonna pull this
You
off.
know? Yeah. I was like, "Ugh." And so I was just like, we see each other outside or whatever. Nothing there. Man, I ain't no Riz, bro. I was just like, I would say something, hey, how you doing? Nice days, and corny stuff. And then she had internet and I didn't. So I would like find this excuse like, oh man, you know, I think I got an email coming in, or you know what I'm saying? Can I check my email or whatever like that? So we would talk a little bit or whatever. Then I would invite her to church, and but we were just friends. And this went on for a while, and it got to the point to where everybody in my family and her family was like, y'all go together, but we were like, oh, we're just friends, like, you know what I'm saying? And so one day I was like, hey, I said, I just let her know I really like her, whatever. And I said, you know, why don't we make this a thing? And she was like, I thought we were already doing this. Like, she was like, I'm not seeing them. And I'm like, what?
I ain't even know when was you gonna tell me.
Because here's the deal. Like, you know, a lot of people were doing that, you know, we friends, or, you know, we talking, or we you know what I mean? Everybody had different things that called or whatever like that, and we weren't doing. We never kissed. We never did anything. We would just go hang out. We'd go places or whatever like that. So it was just like she's my friend, you know. So we were neighbors, and so it was kind of like nothing was going on like on that level. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so the fact that she and I was going through a time to where, you know, that was an issue too. And so with me being around somebody like that I knew I was attracted to, and her just kind of being cool and nobody trying anybody, and it was, so I'm thinking like really she sees me as a friend, like, you know what I'm saying? And but then like we start going together and all, and we waited until we got married for each other, you know what I'm saying? And then I don't know, she's just been like, it's kind of like that. If I was in the basket weaving, she'd be my number one supporter.
That's
like that's just what it is. And like of course we've had our ups and downs and all that, but like we're married 20 years. I have an 18-year-old son, 14-year-old daughter. With wrestling, it's always for most of our marriage, wrestling was just a hobby that paid well, you know what I mean? And well, it didn't really start paying well until I got signed at Ring of Honor, like 2011. So before then, it was just, okay, I have 2 or 3 jobs and I wrestle. And it was kind of like one day he's going to grow out of this thing. You know what I'm saying? And then when every time I was thinking, okay, well, all right, I'm about done. Like, you know what I'm saying? Something would happen where I would get, you know, elevated or start making more money and getting phone places and getting, you know, it would just boom, 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 you know. And then it got to a point to where it became like enough of an income that I had to claim it on my taxes and, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, to where it started being a serious part of the income. And
right.
And so she was supportive, man. She was just like, if I needed to be somewhere or whatever like that. There was a time, the first time I knew she had my back was we were supposed to go somewhere for church or something. And I said, well, I can't go that date because I'm so-and-so, so-and-so. And she said, well, I thought you was so-and-so, so-and-so, you know, wrestling for so-and-so. And I was like, no, I'm wrestling for stuff. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, how do you know? You know what I'm saying? But she would make notes of where I was supposed to be wrestling at. And it was the first time I ever been double booked for something. But I didn't realize it until she pointed it out to me. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, how did you do that? And she was like, I have it on my cell phone. And I was like, what? And she had, of course, so this should tell you how long ago this was, okay? So she flips open her phone and she's like, see, you get you know, and so I was like, oh, that's cool. So I started keeping up with my dates or whatever like that, and it's just little stuff like that, man. And then like by the grace of God, I've never I have a manufacturing engineering degree, and then I worked, but I never was able to like follow my career because the career path was always like make a choice, you know what I mean? But I was always able to get a job, you know what I mean? Because of my degree, I can just about get a job anywhere. And so I was always working. So there was never a time where it was like, you know, she's holding me down by paying the bills or whatever, but she was holding me down by really praying for me, bro. Like keeping the faith, like, because there's a story I tell all the time of like, I was washing clothes one time and dark color clothes, and I was washing during the dark color clothes. I realized I had dropped a white sock in there. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh crap, it was a white sock, whatever. So when I wash the clothes, when they finished washing, I put them in the dryer and I saw the white sock. I was like, well, I got to dry it, you know? So I dried it or whatever like that. And I said, whenever I wash white clothes, I'll just put the sock back with it. And dried the clothes or whatever. And then put the clothes on top of the dryer. I was like, where's that white sock at? And I set that white sock on top of the dark colored clothes. And I was like, it's a white sock. You know what I'm saying? So I said, whenever I get the other socks, I'll just, you know, put it together or whatever. So I'm washing the white clothes or whatever. And so they come out the dryer. And I had already put the dark color clothes up. I could wash clothes and fold them. Pretty good at that. And so Skills.
Skills.
Wait. Before you continue on, can you get all the clothes out the dryer and not drop one piece?
Nah, I mean, I'm not gonna try to get them all out at the same time. If I feel it's gonna be too much, I make more than one trip or get a basket. You know what I'm saying? I'm the type of person. If it's too many bags, I'll take 2 trips. You know what I mean? Like, but anyway, I dried the white clothes, and I had Alexa stop, and so I was like, "Where's that white sock at?" And so I went and I got the white sock was laying over the washing machine, and I got it, and I got the sock that matched with it. And when I put the white sock with the white socks, they were 2 totally different colors. And I was like, and I just sat there and stared at it for a minute, because like I could probably wear the socks and nobody would know unless I like just pulled the socks up and they were like, "Dang, one of your socks is dingy, one of them is white." You know what I'm saying? But it just really stuck out to me, but it made me see it was like, you know, you're a white sock, but you're around a lot of influence. You know what I'm saying? And you have a choice to where you could be washed with this influence, and they see you as a white sock, but you're really not. And then when you get back to church, people know that there's something different about you, or you can continue to stand out. You know what I'm saying? And you could be around it, but not getting washed with it, not being, you know what I mean? And so from that day forward, I just made a choice of like, you know, I want to stay as clean as not that people are dirty, but like you could be around people and not be involved in what they're doing, not be involved in certain mess, not be in certain cliques, not, you know, in the backbite, not into this, not into slander, not into the after party life type, you know what I mean? And to where when people see you, they still see you as that person. And then when you go to church Sunday morning, you don't have to be like thinking like, oh, I hope somebody don't show up that saw me at the so and so, or the, you know what I'm saying? And so she's been that person that's kind of like held me down on that part, and like just that's a huge deal, you know. And being that, you know, that also being that that realist. You know what I'm saying? To where you go out and you're doing all this stuff and the world sees you as, you know, Caprice Code, and you come back and you be like, the alarm was broke. Like, so yeah, it's you know, it's that type of relationship, man. And so I thank God for, in 20 years, man, she has, you know, it's a blessing for me to be with her, because she has put up with a lot. Because if you're married to an entertainer, that's a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of wondering what's the next contract going to be like. Are you going to get signed? Are you over the edge? Is it more you can do? Do I need to give this up? Do I need, you know what I'm saying?
Are you getting paid for that?
Yeah, I can't pay. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's a lot that goes along with that. Being on the road, what's going on while you're on the road, and who is that person really your friend, or do they have your best interest in mind, and you know, who's that? I don't know. I haven't heard that name, and you know what I mean. And so like, there's a lot that goes with that. You feel me? And so for her to have been with me this long and to continue to like support and praise and pray for me, and like, you know, bruh, like social media could kill people. You know what I'm saying? Like it has sabotaged people, whatever. So like for her just to be who she is, man, and like things that she's put up with, because bruh, like I've been through a lot and I put her through a lot, you know what I mean? And so for her to be that person that, you know, I'm the one called to preach, but she's ministered to me a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I know spiritually that if it wasn't for her, I probably would be dead, like for real. And so like that's who my wife is to me.
Oh man, that was a beautiful answer. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that up so she can hear all those beautiful things that you said. You getting some tonight, brother. I'm just letting you know.
Appreciate the love.
We got you, man. We look out for our peoples, man.
We're gonna put it on repeat now.
There it is. Oh man, listen. Coleman's pulpit.
Say what?
Coleman's pulpit, man.
Coleman's pulpit. Yeah.
let's talk about that real quick. You had some really great segments, man, where you had a lot of great interviews, man. Some of them with Punishment
Oh,
Martinez,
we're having some technical
yeah,
issues.
Jay Lethal. Can you hear me?
Caprice, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Is it just Vic?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you're fine.
Can
I
you hear
think
me,
it's just
Vic? I think it's Vic the Andrew. It's him.
yeah.
It's
He'll
his.
go back out.
Yeah.
But real quick, man, talk about how you came up with Coleman's Pulpit, man, and how you antagonized some of your guests. I think that was I think it was really great, man. One of them I really like is the one that you did with Damian Priest or Punishment Martinez, as he was
Uh-huh.
called back then, man. So how did you come up with Coleman's Pulpit, man, and how did you come up with that character to kind of antagonize your guests?
Man, it basically, any role that I've had in Ring of Honor, I was a mouthpiece. You know what I mean? Like, when I was tagging with Cedric, I was kind of like he was the wrestler and I was the talker. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so it was. Are you good now, Vic? Can you hear us now? Hello. He
Yeah.
on here like he frozen. He like
Yeah, he tried.
he
Yeah,
said,
go ahead.
yeah.
I get him.
Hey, I've
Yeah.
been there. I've been there. I've been there. I gave you the advice they gave me. You might want to log out and log back in. What I
Yeah.
had to do.
Yeah, just while I got logged back in. That's it. Well, go ahead.
But nah. I was part of the rebellion, and we lost the match, so the rebellion had to disband. And when the rebellion disbanded, it was kind of like Ring of Honor had ideas for what they wanted each member to do. And for me, they was like, "Well, Caprice, we need a talk show." And the funny thing is, I had pitched to them before. I said, I want to do like a talk show to where I bring the characters out of the personality, the personalities out of these wrestlers. I said, because Ring of Honor, we're known for great wrestling. I said, but nobody really knows these guys. They don't know what makes these guys tick. They don't know what makes these guys mad, what they like, what their interests are, or anything like that. And I said, if we had some kind of interview segment where we can interview these people, it would be like something that they could their fans could be more relatable to. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so they was like, "Oh, okay, sounds good," or whatever, and they just kind of left it on. But then they came to me and was like, "Hey, we got this idea. We want you to do a talk show where you interview people and whatever." I was like, "Great idea. It'd be great." And so they said just find out a name for it, and kind of went back and forth with some names, and then I was thinking Piper's Pit, because I'm a huge Piper's Pit fan, and I was like Coleman's Pulpit, and so they jumped on it. He's moving. Are you on, Vic? He's man.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have
I
some
know how it
technical
feels.
difficulties.
It's
All
all
right, there you
good, bro. It's all good. We were just talking about you, but anyway. So then, nah. But then they gave me the idea. I mean, they we did a talk show, and I said I basically just want to pull out the character out of people, like let people know, who these people are, what makes them tick, or whatever like that. And at this time, I was kind of like a heel, because of the rebellion. So I was already a heel, so I could really play off that character. And so most of my segments were with like the good guys type thing. And so I would just have ideas to do, man. And like it got to the point where the wrestlers wanted to be on the pulpit because they would come up with stuff like, "Man, I'm gonna be on the pulpit and we can do this, da, 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 da." And so like the better it got, the more they had ideas to come, and so we would just kind of just work together on stuff, man. And it was fun. The only thing that happened was we were working with the NWA at the time. We had partnered with NWA, and we were doing TV tapings. The TV tapings were a day before the show. So like the show was on a Saturday, we would be flown in Thursday, and then Friday, all day Friday was like pre-tapes. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I would do Coleman's Pulpit or whatever like that. And but when we started working with NWA, they come up with something. Anyway, the pre-tape day got cut. So everything went from pre-tape day to show day. I think because NWA had I think their part of the deal was they would do all the pre-tapes during the show type thing, like working with them or whatever it was. And so they was like, okay, well maybe we can make Coleman's Pulpit live or whatever like that. But after that, everything just kind of started, the pandemic and kind of happened or whatever. And then it's funny because after the pandemic, they bought a new pulpit. And they was gonna revamp it and all that, but then like I said, it kind of went on. That's when Ring of Honor went under, so that's when the pulpit kind of that was it.
Do you think that you will ever bring the pulpit back?
Oh, I'd love to. I would love to.
Could you
always?
Oh, go ahead.
What was you gonna say? I've always loved. I mean, I like interviewing people. But like, it's funny you say that because they continuously put me in interview segments like for pay-per-views, and I'm still able to kind of like throw something in there every once in a while, like a facial expression or kind of like egging people on or whatever like that, and kind of I can add to something and kind of be that antagonist without them knowing it type thing, to where people that know what I'm doing know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? But not necessarily like a show of myself. It's mostly the interviews I've been doing, like the Briscoes and FTR, Cesaro and dang, I can't think of no names today. But the feud, yeah, it sucks, man. But yeah, Kingston. But yeah, it's like the interviews like that or whatever. But other than that, just doing commentary, and I love commentary. So it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm just doing commentary now. Commentary is something that if you told me 10 years that I would be doing commentary, I'd be like, no, I'm gonna be on WrestleMania. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like the way that it's worked out, it's a blessing because like I have a job that I'm still relevant. I'm still in the wrestling business, and I'm able to tell the story of people that might not have a story told. And I've also been in all the situations where, especially like talent that is just getting an opportunity, like they've never been on TV before, or they're not on TV a lot, and they're not really known. To me, I've been that person where you getting a shot, and then you go to watch your match, and the commentators are talking about something that has nothing to do with your match. Like, you know what I mean? And I've been in all those situations, and I've been in matches where I've been in high tier matches, and I go back and watch the match, and I've been hurt and to see where I got hurt at, and the commentators are talking about something totally different. And so it's always just kind of been like a itch of mine of like, why are these guys talking about stuff other than the match? We got our lives on the line.
Right.
And so when I would be in a feud or whatever like that at Ring of Honor, if I was managing somebody or whatever, they'd put me in commentary, and I would start commentating or whatever. But like, I was never able to like start putting myself over, or that wouldn't work with me because I was never that person, because I'm like, something would just shift where I would just start telling the story about what's happening in the ring. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, I got to avoid that because this is, this could really hurt somebody. And I remember the first time I did it, and I came to the back, and the producer was looking at me, and he was like, "You're really good at this." And I was like, "Thanks." He was like, "No." He was like, "You're really good at this." And I just thought he was just being nice. And then Kevin Kelly came into the back. As Kevin Kelly was there, and he was like, "We think you're a natural at this, and you want to give it a try." And I was like, "Heck yeah!" Like, yeah, I tried, And so there were times where I would come in and wrestle, and then I would commentate, or I would do both, And so I would bring a suit, and I bring my gear, and I would just do whatever I was doing that night. And then eventually, I didn't have to bring my wrestling gear anymore unless I was in some type of feud or something. I think I lost the host now. Vic.
Yeah, I'm still here. So
okay.
Yeah, I love that. So look, I want to have you, I'm going to put you on the spot real quick. You know what I'm saying? We usually have a segment called Mr. Everything Interviews Everybody. But what I would like for you to do is just do a small taste of a Coleman's pulpit, and your guest is Mr. Everything, Victor Andrews. You guys got a big match coming up. So I want to see how you can do.
Oh, wow.
Coleman's pulpit with your boy, Mr. Everything, Victor Andrews.
All right.
You ain't dusty. You still got a champ.
Heaven high. It's Coleman's Pulpit. I'm your host, Caprice Coleman, the most versatile man in this sport today. And like we like to do is I like to find out the truth because the truth will make you free. Today, we have a guest for you that thinks he is everything, but we'll find out if he's anything today. Our guest today is Victor Andrews. Victor Andrews, nice to have you today on the pulpit. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm on the pulpit with Caprice Coleman. I'm ready to make some names and take some babies. Take some names and make some babies. One of those things is going to happen. And sometime tonight, one of them things is going to happen. So what you got going on today, Mr. Caprice Coleman?
Well, I had a couple of questions for you. And with your last statement, what we will leave alone is child support. So your wrestling career lately, you've been getting a lot of insight and you've been making a lot of challenges. I've actually got a call from a promoter that asked me if I could wrestle you. I said I would be honored to wrestle you at a show because this is something that we have always talked about, but it's never been walked out. And I want to know from you, was this your idea or was it the promoter's idea?
It was the promoter's idea. He came to me and he said, listen, man, I want to give you the best competition there is out there. And there is one that is close to us. His name is Caprice Coleman. Do you know him? I said, I absolutely do. Last time I talked to the brother, I asked him for a match and he told me he got to get in shape first. I didn't understand that, but I went with it. So, yeah, he told me he was going to get you and he said he was unavailable. So, what it is, what it look like, what it be like, when we gonna do this, brother?
Well, you know, it's I kind of want to do it. My question would be though.
No? Did I lose you?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. You kind of digital though. You look like an avatar. What you really look like is somebody on Minecraft. Is what you look like. Like one of the Minecraft dudes. Okay, are you with me? I know that's frustrating, but yeah, anyway, well, we got to find out what kind of match we're going to have because if I'm hindsight and looking back, there was a time where, you know, my son, he's 18 now, and he used to come to all the shows, and he was kind of like my he was my intro guy. He would get in the ring and he would say, coming down the aisle, weighing in at 213 pounds from Charlotte, North Carolina, he is more than a conqueror, because I was more than a conqueror at the time. I remember that type of stuff. Caprice Coleman. And he would come out and it was kind of a big thing. He's 18 now. And now I see that you got a little Rome doing the same stuff that my son was doing. So I want to know, do I need to bring my son or do I need to bring a little kid with me when we come to wrestle?
Hey, man, listen. We are a tag team. We are a dynasty. We are a father and son. We're not following what Caprice and Chase did. We're elevating what you attempted to do. Because, see, what you guys did was you had Chase introduce you. See, Ron walks out and he's like the motivator, the innovator, the creator, the spectator, the one that's going to get the crowd moving and everybody grooving. He's the one that's going to make sure that Mr. Everything walks out with the win and my opponents lose every single time.
So, really, you got a kid that distracted people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And this kid has a catchphrase that sounds like the show stopping, crowd popping, body rocking, pulse pounding, heart racer, the handsome face, heartbreaking kid is what it sounds like to me.
That's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. Huh?
That's what you gave Rome. So you gave Rome a catchphrases too?
Yes, all of it. All of it. And his name is not Rome. If you want to say his name, say it loud, say it proud, and say it with conviction, or keep his name out your mouth. His name is Superstar Rome.
Superstar Rome! Superstar Rome! Superstar Rome! could bring you, Mr.
Oh my
Everything,
goodness.
and you could bring your son, and you could bring Superstar Ron with you. And I can come with my son, or I can come by myself, and we can finally do this thing. Because you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. You are a fantastic father. I watch what you do. I watch you train. You got a video where you was training your son, and he didn't think he could do anything, and you pushed him to do it, which anybody else would feel like, why is this kid 3 years old and working out? But I didn't say that. Not me. I was like, he's motivating the son, you know, to do stuff. And I don't know if you had the 4-year-old lifted 50 pounds. I don't know what it was. But anyway, by the time the video ended, it started in the morning. But by nightfall, he was doing what you had him to do. And I said, you know what? That is the type of fathers we need in our life right now. Fathers that motivate their children to be able to do all that they could do. So with that, I commend you, bro, because you are one of the real fathers left. And if you are everything, some things, a thing, which you are as a father, you're a good father. I can say without a shadow of doubt, you are a good father. But it be everything, it's kind of funny because you have the most versatile man in this sport today and Mr. Everything. Seems like we should be a team. But, you know, if you want to challenge, we can challenge. And if you beat me, I will shake your hand and say you are Mr. Everything. How about that?
That sounds good to me. In fact, being a team doesn't sound too bad either.
Well,
I wonder what Ring of Honor is doing. Is doing.
But let me answer that real quick. If you guys were a team, what would your team name be?
That'd be interesting.
Silence fills the room.
Yeah, throw some names around.
You know who would know the answer to that?
What's that?
Hey, real quick. So Caprice has this.
Oh, go ahead.
Caprice has one of these finisher moves. Your finisher move is the sky splitter. The sky splitter.
So he's going back in time a little bit when he was, you know, because not only has it stole my son coming out with me, he has his son. Not only has it stole and giving my catchphrases to his son, he also has wrestling moves that he do like me. He has a black jacket that's just like mine. And I feel like Muhammad Ali because you just took all my stuff, man. I'm like the Little Richard of pro wrestling, and I feel like you stole about 3 of my songs. But anyway, what did you gonna say? The sky splitter.
I was gonna say just that. That I actually took one of your wrestling moves too, the finisher. Yes, but I gave you your flowers because I named it Caprice. I named it Coleman's Blessing because I did ask first. You remember? I did.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. You called me with great conviction one day, and you asked me to do it, and I was. That's the first time. I said one of the first times that anybody called with that purpose out of respect to do something like that, because other people was like, hey, I've been doing this move. I just don't want you to see it on TV and get mad. You know what I'm saying? And so like always much love, always much respect. I was trying to end off the show so I can get back to reality. You know what I'm saying? Because like, if they ever do this, man, I'm be real with you, bro. We could wrestle, we tear the house down. People get more than their money's worth. And if you need a tag team partner, I'll be there with you, bro. And that's just how I feel about you.
I really appreciate that, bro. I really appreciate it. Let's make that happen at Ring of Honor if possible. You know,
people think you think I run Ring of Honor or something.
No. You know, just
people say that. You know what? Let me tell you something. Let me say, just get with Coleman curious, okay? You know what gets Coleman curious is every time I wrestle somebody, I wrestle them or whatever like that. And after the match, they'd be like, "How was the match?" "Oh man, it was good. I appreciate you. You know that was good or whatever." You think you can get me? I've had even people say, I wrestle Caprice Coleman. I should be on Ring. That's not how it works. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
you're absolutely right.
I do know that you have all the connections, bro. Like you've been in. I see you on WWE. I see you like everywhere. You know what I'm saying? If you need some contacts or whatever, like, we'll be in Greensboro this Saturday. If you need tickets to the show, Collision is in Greensboro Saturday. If you need tickets to the show, let me know. Let me know how many people you're bringing. I got you. Said it. But yeah, introduce you to some people for real.
I appreciate that, bro. I really appreciate that. Well, we're gonna let
I would love to see
go.
you guys. I would love to see you guys in the tag team, man, and see you guys whooping some butt. You know what I'm saying? Personally, I like my pastors with a little thug in them. You know what I'm saying? Just they can pray for you and whoop ass at the same time. That's how I like my pastors. That's old school. You know what I'm saying? All the old school pastors used to be pimps and thugs back in the day, and they changed their life around. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, don't if you get back in the ring, to all your opponents, beware, because he will lay hands on you.
That's it.
Straight up.
I'm still thinking in my head, trying to think of a tag team name. Like first thing came to my head is Everything's Versatile, and I was like, no. So
I like that.
Ageless Wonders.
Ooh, the Ageless Ones.
I like that. All right, yeah. Both of y'all use cocoa butter, so I know.
Age. And people always look at us like, man, how you still doing this at your age? Like you don't even look your age. So that'll be something.
We should have. If there's people watching this show, you tell me what you think. If Mr. Everything, Victor Andrews, and Caprice Coleman, the Ageless One, became a tag team, what would that name be? And the coolest name will get a shout out. And if you come up with the coolest name, we will use that name, or we will act like we see it, right? And we add something to it. You know what I'm saying? Like Express at the end of it. And you'd be like, was that my idea? And we'd be like, I didn't see it. Just being honest with you. So
oh man. So Best Damn Nation, man, go in the comment boxes, go on our pages. We got all our social medias down below, and comment what you think a great tag team name would be for the Ageless One, Caprice Coleman, and Mr. Everything, Victor Andrews. Man, I love to see it. Listen, Mr. Coleman, we do this thing each and every Wednesday to be able, it's a way for me to do a little ministry myself. You know what I'm saying? Give a word of motivation, say something positive to get people through their week and through their day. We do this each and every Wednesday, and I want you to kind of follow suit. But do you have a final word or a word of motivation for the people that are watching you right now?
Yeah, absolutely. My first word would be if you are trying to get into the sport of pro wrestling, get in it, take it serious. This sport will take you as serious as you take it. You know what I'm saying? Go in there knowing what you want to do, be able to invest in yourself, take yourself seriously inside of the ring and outside of the ring. Fans, I want to say I love you. I appreciate you. We are nothing without the fans, because people watching this is what gets us where we're at. You know what I mean? And for everybody else, man, and all encompassed, knowing that we serve a God that hears you wherever you're at, and that He loves you no matter how far you've gone or where you're at. He still loves you. He cares for you. He wants you to come home. He wants to talk to you, and that you are always, as long as you're alive, every day that you have another chance to get closer to God. And nobody's perfect, and you've probably been church hurt before or whatever like that by somebody that's imperfect. But the thing about that is salvation is for everybody. That means salvation for crazy people and for sane people. So if God can save the sane people, He can save the crazy people too. If somebody crazy hurt your feelings, don't blame them. It's just the fact that this is how this thing works, called salvation. But the way that you can get it right is you having a personal relationship yourself and treating people the way that you want to be treated. And so that personal relationship is personal, and it's definitely a decision that you have to make, but it's real, and it's a real war out there, real spiritual warfare. And I'm not going to beat you over the head with anything, but if I get a chance to say the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, that's who I stand for, and that's whose side I'm on, and I thank God that He's on my side as well, and He loves you, and He'd like to hear from you.
Oh man, that was a great word from the ageless one, the fearless, the great Priest Coleman, man. I can't follow that. Usually I have a good word each and every week, man. I can't follow that.
It's just telling the truth, bro. It's just telling the truth, bro.
Oh man, well listen.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that beautiful word with us, my friend. You are a member of the Best Damn Nation, man, and you're welcome on the show anytime you want to come on. This is our vibe, man. We like to have fun. We like to have a good time. We talk about wrestling, man, and we try to squeeze a little word of motivation to get people going. So, hey, look, we thank you for joining us on the show. Hey, listen, tell people what you got going on and where can they find you.
Right now, it's Ring of Honor is every Saturday. Collision is when we do our recording, and you can watch us on Honor Club every Thursday night at 7. And I still work the indies when I can. I still travel a lot. I'm traveling with wrestling and preaching now. To God be the glory on that. And I'm on Twitter, Caprice Coleman. I'm on Facebook, Caprice Coleman. On Instagram, The Caprice Coleman. I just had my Facebook and Instagram restarted because I got hacked, and so it's funny because I'm real paranoid, bro. Because it's I give people my Instagram now, and they're like, bro, you only got such and such as many followers or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, I had to start over. I had thousands, you know what I'm saying? And so it's that reboot type thing. It's humbling, is what it is, and so but it's still whatever, But I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm on TikTok, but a lot of that stuff, like I said, I mean, I'm just in and out, you know what I mean? I throw something up there, and then I might look at it, but I don't live there. You feel me? But yeah, that's it, man. So on my social media, I put out dates when I'm doing stuff. And that's how we roll.
Oh man, thank you, sir, for all that information, Mr. Everything. Let the beautiful people know what you got going on and where can they find you.
Absolutely. So this Friday, I'm gonna be in Cleveland, Ohio, for a revamping of Control Your Narrative. We have this new product called Exodus. So I'm going to be out there showcasing my abilities with some of those guys that's out there and seeing if I can still be a dominant member of the Control Your Narrative family. This Saturday, I will be in Nashville, North Carolina for Maximum Adrenaline Extreme Wrestling, something like that, Max. So I'll be out there on Saturday, and on Sunday, I will be at School of Morton in Chuckey, Tennessee. And then, I'm always moving and shaking all over the place. Got a couple of movies coming out. Still getting ready to finish up the mental health movie. So that should be done and out by the middle of September. So, you already know where to find me.
Bro, remember that when we was doing that Wakanda movie, the Black Panther?
Yes, I do. And I wish we could have finished it.
I be telling people they don't even believe me. Yes, bro. I was like, bro, we were doing the Black Panther before the Black Panther came out. Nobody believes me. So I show them pictures.
Exactly.
Cute.
I gotta find the pictures.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we were shooting for the Black Panther. Sean had that stuff hooked up, man. That joke was cool, man. He was good people, man. Good people.
Yeah. Well, maybe you could be on the next movie, man. What kind of forever? I can see you. I can see you being part of the Border Tribe. You know what I'm saying?
Wi-Fi! I'll do whatever.
That's awesome, man. Well, listen, man. You can find both of these brothers on their social media pages. My name is Brian Renegade. You can find me on all platforms at Brian Renegade. Hey, listen, fellas, I ain't trying to hold y'all no longer. Thank you guys for being on the show. If you want to follow the show, you can follow all our social medias down below. You know where to get us. You know where to get at us, man. We're gonna be watching and listening to Mr. Coleman on Saturday. Go ahead.
Wasn't there like another dude that they showed something, but he never showed his face?
Yeah. He had to jump off real quick.
Okay.
That's why we got rotating members, man, just in case stuff happens.
Make sure he know I noticed that. You know what I'm saying? His name was Showtime or something.
Showtime. Showtime.
It wasn't Dynamite, was it?
No. Man, listen, we got to have you back on, brother. We got to have you back on. This was a good time, man. This was a good time.
Anytime, bro. Y'all take it easy.
All right, thank you. Beautiful people, we will see you next week on the next Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. Fellas, it's a pleasure. Beautiful people, we bid you adieu.
Bye-bye, bitch.